Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On the show today, we'll talk all things sorghum with Doug Bice from the National Sorghum Checkoff. Also an interview with Jim Farrell from Farmers National Company. Brad Parker will stop by with an update from Kansas soybean. And Kansas Farm Bureau will talk about salmonella in your backyard flock. Plus our weekly updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and markets with the boys from Paragon. I'm Ken Rogers, and thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report.
Closed captioning brought to you by the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org. Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Joining us now is Doug Bice with the Sorghum Checkoff. Well, Doug, good to see you.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Now, sorghum, of course, we spend a lot of time talking about growing that crop, but once it gets grown, it's got to do something with, there's a lot of exciting things going on with sorghum.
Absolutely. So we're doing a lot in the realm of research with respect to sorghum on an international basis. So more so than just the typical commodity markets, right? So we're looking at aquaculture, food usage, alcohol, all kinds of opportunities there. But really where we've seen the dynamic growth opportunities is in the food market here in the United States. And so as an example, we've had two recent wins with respect to Chick-fil-A and Papa John's Pizza. So they've incorporated sorghum as part of their gluten-free menu selections. And so those are big wins for us. In the case of Papa John's, it's actually the main ingredient in there. So, you know, those are nice. More recently, as of yesterday even, I was down at Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas. And myself and one of our RD, registered dietitian consultants, we promoted and showcased sorghum to them as potential either ingredient components or private label components to be, shown in their stores as part of their product line. And we did so well, they invited us back for a second go-around. And so we're really excited about that opportunity, a plethora of opportunities there in all kinds of facets for food where sorghum fits, whether it's a pop sorghum or a bran or a flake or even sprouted sorghum grains now. That's been a big move with tortilla chips and all kinds of products like that. So exciting times for us, and we have more on the horizon with other food service groups.
And you and I have talked in the other line on the radio side.
Right.
It's more than just the sorghum cookies, getting that flour and doing that. And so
exactly right. And we recently did a trade show where we showcased sorghum in about nearly 30 different types of dishes and applications. And so again, folks got to see how it can be utilized. And if you go to our website, we have a great website highlighting all the recipes. And we have over 300 different recipes. So whether it's a soup or a salad, a garnishment, even the sorghum syrup as a glaze or a marinade, again, all those different applications. And that's really what we're showing. We're doing work, for example, with the pulses, the APA group on lentils and everything else. And they're blending in now pulse flours and sorghum flours and producing some really wonderful products. So we're showing that complementary nature, but also that versatility of how sorghum can be brought into so many different food product lines.
So what else is on the horizon? Boy, it's like you got nothing else going on.
Well, and so we'll be doing obviously much more with respect to the food development side. That's really where the tremendous growth opportunity, the premiums for sorghum farmers is there, and we need to really go after those markets. But also, the pet food side has been showing some really interesting growth opportunities there as well. And so we'll be working that a little bit more than what we have historically, and we've seen, again, some pretty good growth in that market as well. And as I mentioned, the international side too.
So really, folks want to see it domestically. as you read those labels, encourage folks to read the labels.
Right.
Find sorghum. Not only if you have the gluten issue, but really the overall healthiness of sorghum.
That's exactly right. So if you look at the profile of sorghum, it's a great profile, a nutrient profile. And what people a lot of times forget is those micronutrients. We think about the vitamin A, B, C, D, iron, magnesium. There's where sorghum also is very beneficial to a diet that anybody should really want to be incorporating. Whether or not you're an athlete, you should just want that or have that on your daily basis. And so that, again, with the fact that it can be used in so many diverse forms, there's just no reason not to bring it in there. And so my suggestion to the consumer world is, don't be afraid to get out there and talk to your store managers and everything. Call to action forms, request it from them,
right,
and they'll bring it in.
Website again to get all that information.
Simplysorghum.com.
All right, simplysorghum.com. Doug Bice has joined us from the Sorghum Checkoff. We'll have more coming up.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
We're joined now by Jim Farrell, the President and CEO of Farmers National Company. Of course, many folks in the region know about Farmers National Company. Jim, we always enjoy talking to you every year and want to get that update. It's been a pretty good year, all things considered, in your market.
Canada has been a good year. Actually, our year end is September 30, and we had a significantly better year than we did the year before. And I think agriculture in general, kind of evened out this last year a little bit. I'm sure there will still be some stress in certain areas, but the amount of stress that we saw and experienced this year was not nearly as much as what we anticipated.
There was a lot of expectation for land prices to really fall. If they had, they've kind of taken some steps rather than a free fall, if you will.
Yes, that's correct. And really the land market through the central Midwest, if anything, has just been steady. The lower quality ground has fallen a little bit more again this year, but high quality ground has held its own, and in some cases it's gone up. So a year ago when you and I talked, the things we talked about included the fact that if we had an average crop in 2017, that probably would not be very positive. Well, we didn't have an average crop in 2017. We had a big crop in 2017, bigger than we anticipated, at least in the corn, soybean, and even really to a degree in the wheat. But so it came in better than what we thought even this year. So I think going into next year, we're sitting better than we anticipated.
Has credit been an issue? Has there been plenty of credit?
Well, there's plenty of credit, but the issue has been the capital needs of farm operators and whether or not their balance sheets will support it. So there are certain farm operators where I think it's been a challenge to get the credit that they need. We saw more of that a year and a half ago than we saw over the last 12 months. The big crop and the big government program payments that came in October of 2016 helped heal some of those wounds, if you will. And so the cash needs were still there, but not nearly as drastic as they were the year prior.
Who's buying land? Still farmers or is it investors again?
Really, by and large, it's farmers buying land. There are some investors buying land, but the funds, many of the funds are kind of taking a wait-and-see attitude right now, because I think most people think there's maybe another leg down in this land market. You know, there's a little bit more down move yet, and so some people are really kind of hanging back, waiting for that to happen, I think.
Well, you also have some other things to do. I want to talk about the general economy when we come back and kind of how we move forward, also look back a little bit more on this year, where we move forward. There's a lot of factors that go into not only the land business, but really agriculture in general. So we're talking with Jim Farrell, who is President and CEO of Farmers National Company. We'll be back in just a moment.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Let's continue our conversation with Jim Farrell from Farmers National Company. Jim, as we look at wrapping up 2017, big crops, farm income not exactly where it's been, but as I get your newsletters, you are still very optimistic. Somewhat, some recent sales in say Nebraska and Iowa, a lot of interested bidders, really pretty active.
It has been a very good market, and on top quality land, we've actually seen some increases in values over and above what we thought they would sell for. And that's pretty indicative of the market right now in the central Midwest. That top quality land is holding its own. Any land that's got a blemish, if it's poor quality land, if it happens to have some sort of a tree area in it or a creek, it's not selling as well. The land that's selling as well is the really top quality land.
Farmers National Company, more than just realtors, that's a big part of it, but also you look at the big overall pictures, farm management, so on and so forth, and also like you have nothing better else to do, but you're also privileged to serve on the Federal Reserve Board in Kansas City, so that even also gives you insights at those meetings. What are you hearing? What are, as you all gather, what's the general overall mood of the farm economy and the rural economy?
I would say it's cautious right now. The bankers that I know and some of those that I've met over the last few years through some of my affiliations are a little bit cautious about how the refinancing will go this winter and whether or not the big crop and late government program payment will be enough to hold cash flows and checks so that the capital needs don't exceed the balance sheet that's there to allow the farm operator to borrow the needed capital. So I think overall they feel better than they did a couple years ago when we had all those Farm Service Agency guarantees. We didn't see that last year. Don't anticipate that this year either.
Overall, banks pretty good shape, even though you don't necessarily represent the bankers per se. But in your dealings, a few months ago there was some caution. We see in the monthly reports that come out from Creighton. Some may say, yeah, we might be okay, but there are some challenges we know.
As far as bank health goes, my small understanding of it, I think the banks are all in pretty good shape in the Midwest. I'm unaware of there being any real bank issues. I think what came out from the Creighton report was a concern about whether or not there would be some foreclosures. And I was surprised to see that some of the bankers actually had predicted there may be some foreclosures. Quite frankly, we really haven't seen much of that. We have been involved in some bankruptcies. Not that our company was involved, but we've been brought in to help sell off a farm that maybe had been through a bankruptcy, that kind of thing. So there has been a little stress, but it really hasn't been widespread and not nearly anything close to what we saw in the 80s.
Okay, we always like to do this. You always give us a great answer. Looking at 2018, bullish or bearish on land?
Well, frankly, I'd have to say I'm neutral to bearish. I really do think that the best thing that we could do in farmland over time is to continue this gradual decline. We haven't really gone off a cliff. It's just been a nice slow roll down to wherever it might even out. And I think with the increasing interest rate environment that we're in and the competition for money, that's going to create, I think that we're going to have to.
Jim Farrell from Farmers National Company has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
The U.S. Soybean Export Council, representing 10 U.S. soybean exporters, signed a letter of intent November 8 with the China Chamber of Commerce, representing 10 Chinese importers. That signing represented nearly 294 million bushels of U.S. soybeans valued at $3.4 billion. Chinese buyers have committed to purchasing a total of $11.6 billion worth of soybeans through 3 signing ceremonies for the 2018 marketing year. USAC estimates the United States will have final sales of $14 billion worth of soybeans to China by the end of August 2018, and current commitments will account for about 83% of the estimated total. In the 2017 marketing year, 2 signing ceremonies accounted for $3.9 billion, about 27%, of the $14.6 billion in U.S. soy sold to China. Earlier this year, the U.S. soy industry celebrated 35 years of operations in China, deciding to keep them going even in the face of nearly 20 years without exports to that country. China remains U.S. soy's top customer, buying more than 1 of every 4 rows of soybeans grown in the United States. You can learn more about international marketing at kansassoybeans.org/international on the web.
The Center for Disease Control recently announced another outbreak of salmonella linked to live poultry and backyard flocks. So far this year, more than 1,100 people in 48 states have gotten ill. Of all these cases, nearly 250 people were hospitalized and at least 1 death has been reported. Owning backyard chickens and other poultry can be a great experience. However, it's important to consider the risk of illness, especially for children and the elderly, from handling live poultry or anything in the area where they live and roam. Live poultry may have salmonella germs in their droppings and on their bodies even when they appear healthy and clean. The germs can get on cages, coops, feed and water dishes, hay, plants, and soil in the area where the birds live and roam. Germs also can get on the hands, shoes, and clothes of people who handle the birds or work or play around them. People become infected with salmonella when they put their hands or other things that have been in contact with live poultry in or around their mouth. Young children are more likely to get sick because their immune systems are still developing and they are more likely to put their fingers or other items into their mouths. These outbreaks are a reminder to follow steps to keep your family healthy while enjoying your backyard flock. Always wash hands thoroughly with soap and water right after touching live poultry or anything in their area. Adults should supervise hand washing for children. Do not let live poultry inside your house. Do not let children younger than 5 years of age handle or touch chicks, ducklings, or other live poultry without adult supervision. For more information about salmonella, visit www.cdc.gov.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look,
that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Members of the 2017 KLA Young Stockman's Academy were recognized during the KLA convention December 1st. This was the 12th YSA class to graduate, which will bring the total number of alumni to 240. Merck Animal Health is the exclusive sponsor of the program, which consists of 20 young producers gathering for 4 seminars throughout the year. Attending the KLA convention was the final session for this year's class. While at the convention, YSA members participated in committee and council meetings and received their Masters of Beef Advocacy degrees following an in-depth spokesperson training session with NCBA Director of Grassroots Advocacy and Spokesperson Development, Ryan Goodman. The 2017 class includes Cade Bauman of Kensington, Heath Bergkamp from Arlington, Colby Brownrigg of Welda, Joseph Hubbard of Houston Lake, Missouri, Blake Jones from Waverly, Kayla Yosifiak of Burdett, Cassie Kniebel from White City, Luke Knight of Lyons, Caitlin Mavies of Moran, Dustin Nadier of Valley Center, Clay O'Brien from Hepler, Garrett Oaks from Jetmore, Derek Putoff from Kinsley, Jake Renner of Kingman, Russell Rezak from Emmett, Kayla Sandoval of Ashland, Cashley Schweer from Garden City, Sarah Struthers of Milton, Tony Winkler of Ulysses, and Dustin Wooten from McLouth. KLA is accepting applications for the 2018 YSA class. For more information, visit www.kla.org. The deadline is December 15th.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. The corn market has proceeded to move sideways to lower for nearly 3 months now. All of your local elevators and end users have rolled from bidding off the December futures to the March futures. Coincidentally, the March futures have settled into a spot somewhere near 350, which is where the December futures price spent a lot of its time trading. That is carry coming out of the market, plain and simple. If nothing much happens between now and March 1st, there are quite a few odds makers who would wager the May futures price will be near 350 as well when the roll from March to May happens. Time will tell if the odds makers are correct, but there are some other basic math principles to consider. The primary one I want to talk about is corn sitting in the elevator. You need to sell it. It is that simple. Maybe not today and maybe not all at once, but you need to sell it. There are decent alternatives for re-owning it on paper if you can't stand selling at these prices. I'm not advocating that one way or another without being able to talk to the individual who is considering it, but I do know paying 5 cents a month in storage has a very slim chance of paying off past this point in the year while you wait to try and pick out a rally to sell into. If you want to learn more about re-ownership strategies, feel free to give us a call at Paragon, and our number is 888-452-8751. Thanks. I'm Derek Kermish. Have a good day.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
And that's this week's show. You can find more ag information or watch the show again online at KansasAgReport.com. For my partner Brian Hallman, I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.